Hey everyone, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Mike Catalana alongside Dan Fetes here. Day 5 of Bills camp officially in the books. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Podcasts, sights and sounds, everything. We appreciate it as the channel continues to grow. Mike, big news of the day, or scariest news of the day.
Micah Hyde getting hurt, and he did get hurt. What scared me the most, and let's give you the update right away. It is a hip glute injury. He's being evaluated. That's what comes from the team. I would say that sounds pretty good from what we saw.
I agree. And what it was Josh Allen threw a ball that was high over Stephon Diggs. Micah jumped up in the air to make the interception and kind of got tapped a little bit, fell down awkwardly, and landed really hard on his right side. And then he kind of immediately rolled over.
Yeah, what worried me was Jordan Poyer's reaction, because Poyer's over top, and it's his guy, and he's right away calling to get somebody on the field. Micah's down on the ground. He's in some pain.
Yeah.
And I think it was that acute pain. I mean, it happened. It hurt. And he's down, and I don't know what he said. He might have said, "I'm hurt." Like, I have no idea. But there was a sense, and then all the players were around him. So we're on the sidelines. Now, for Bills fans to know, the team has rules. We're not allowed to shoot certain times. Dan's there with the camera. I got a camera. We're all standing there with cameras. We're not allowed to shoot it. We're not allowed to shoot him coming off the field. So I'm trying to describe to you. Dan just described the play.
Right.
And that's what's frustrating. Players around him, players on a knee. Like, it had that look of an injury, and I think it doesn't appear to be a serious injury.
There was a hush that fell over practice. The music stopped. Players took knees, like Mike said, and it kind of got to that moment of like, Micah, like, you okay? He was able to get up, did limp off / hobble / walk under his own power. He wasn't being carried. He didn't have his arms around anybody. He was off on his own.
Now, he took a cart. Now, you see where we are, the field's behind us, and they're going all the way that way to the locker room. He went in the cart. He was in the passenger seat of the cart. There's a big distinction there.
Massive.
Yes, because he's not laying in the back. He was sitting there. He's right in front of us. We're standing there looking at him. He did not look in any sort of distress. I'm describing this for you because I can't show you a picture of it, because I believe we get kicked out of St. John Fisher if we do. Maybe you've seen some people in the stands that have. I don't know. My point was, he looked okay. Wasn't great walking off the field.
Yeah.
But he was on a cart, sitting in a cart, having somebody from the Bills drive him to the locker room.
And a couple of things we were talking about amongst media members of what was this. They cart a lot of players to the locker room, to Mike's point, because it's so far away. This isn't like where you're right out of the tunnel at a field, or you go right into the locker room, so you cart the person. They got a ways to go. It is from the far side of the field all the way there, so about another 100 yards both ways.
And then it wasn't too far after that Ed Oliver ends up getting sort of tangled, I guess, but he went kind of low.
Josh fell.
Josh Allen.
Josh fell down. Another hush fell over St. John Fisher University. Josh is fine.
Yeah, he's fine. This is why I tell everybody, fans will say to me, well, I don't like Josh running. I don't like him out there. Sure, something can happen to him. Josh is a supreme athlete when he's looking where he's going. He's standing in the pocket. A guy rolls over in his leg. That's what I worry about more than anything with any quarterback. But even him, fortunately, it was nothing. They really do try to do their best to keep everybody away from the quarterback. And maybe Ed was being a little too aggressive. It's Ed Oliver. He knows what he's doing out there. It does happen, but Josh was all right.
It also happened, too, after that play, McDermott went up to the defensive line, because there were other guys that were missing and that are continued to being shuffled in and out of the offensive line. We saw Spencer Brown working off to the side on a bike most of the day. Deion Dawkins was excused from practice, was not here for personal reasons. So the defense had their day. And at one point, McDermott, after Josh goes down, and Josh even kind of gets up like, what's going on? McDermott saying, like, enough. Like, it was like, stop it.
Yeah, the competitive part does take over. Right? But they got to be smart. Number one, he's wearing a red jersey. Oh, and by the way, it has a 1 and a 7 on it. Like the franchise. So be smart. Be smart. And so many things can happen. You want to avoid it. Sometimes, like the play with Hyde. I mean, that happens. I mean, you'll see people blaming other players. This is still football. They may not be tackling, but they're going for the ball. They went up for the ball. He came down awkwardly. It can happen. But if you can avoid some of that, while it's not even August, avoid it.
Yeah, and I thought the defense Mike, had a massive day. We've gone back and forth. The pendulum has kind of swung so far these first few days of training camp. I thought the offense looked great on Wednesday. I thought the defense, just a dominant performance. Just the offense looked off.
It did. And then you add into the fact of, they don't have referees here. Mm-hmm. They will say something sometimes, but players get away with some stuff defensively. There was one play. It looked like the most disjointed play in the world in the end zone. The ball went flying. I think it was McKenzie and Knox may have run next to each other. I think the defense held every guy on the field during that play.
No flags on the field.
Yeah, it gets a little scrambled. I think next week they usually have the referees come in and officiate the scrimmages, the 11 on 11. I think that'll help a little bit. But tomorrow's going to be interesting. We're talking about Saturday, because the offense has bounced back before, and tomorrow, putting them on.
We're going to thud up, as Sean McDermott likes to say. We will also hear from him as well. Like, the other guy that stood out for me, I thought there were a few flash plays or positive plays from the offense. It was, again, from Isiah McKenzie.
Yeah. I love the way he moves. I love the way he goes on the field. And he has always been a guy that, we laugh a little bit because he's funny. He does some things. He does a little dance. All those things that are Isiah. But even players we talk to, he's a really good football player.
Yeah, that gets overlooked with his personality.
He's fast. He is quick. Cole Beasley was so good in his body movements on those little slants. He knew how to get in the spots. But I think Isiah McKenzie is physically quicker. That quick twitch at another level to get to those places. And he and Josh have pretty good rapport with that.
Yep.
He's a different kind of player than Beasley. And Beasley was very effective in that role. But, man, I'd have a package of things for him in that slot, because he is a superior footwork guy in those tight spaces.
But he is, being a focus. He's a guy that they are making sure the ball gets in his hands. And he's running exclusively with the first team. He's not taking any second team snaps. Josh is always the one throwing to him. There is going to be, again, big expectations, as we have said, throughout this training camp that I think he's improved on. What else stood out to you today?
Yeah, I think a little bit about when you look at the way that the camp goes. The players all talk about it. They all talk about the dog days of camp and the way it gets. I think they maybe started today, because they had those days. Then they had a day off. Now you're back. And it's the middle week. I mean, I know today's Friday, tomorrow's Saturday, but the way their week went, then they've got off Sunday, then they're back Monday, Tuesday. That is the stretch. There's no preseason game. They put the pads on a few times. The whole idea of being away, they joke about the dorms and all, starts to get older. I think those are the dog days. And the idea is, how do they fight through that to get the work done? To make sure after practice, like we saw Gabriel Davis today, on the jugs machine. Yep. When you see guys out on the field doing extra reps. When you see all that, it gets a little harder after 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. That's what I want to see. And you start to see little elements of it now.
Another note, Josh Allen signs a comically large amount of autographs. It is unbelievable what that guy does. The fact that his wrist doesn't hurt at the end of the day is something, because, Mike, I know you talked about it day one. It wasn't just a day one thing for the amount of autographs that Josh Allen signed. He goes longer than I have ever seen a star player. There are other players that I feel like would sign anything because they're maybe a camp body and they just want to sign things. Josh Allen is a superstar signing autographs for everybody.
The cutest thing you hear is the kids calling him Mr. Allen.
Mr. Allen is the best.
And you can tell the parents are saying to him, he's Mr. Allen. He's too young to be Mr. Allen, but he hears it. I watch him. We've got videos. We'll post some of those too, of just how well he navigates the crowd. And I'm telling you, I saw this little boy. He's on his dad's shoulders, high fives afterward. I don't even know if the little boy will remember it, but you better believe the dad's going to remember it and keep telling the boy, and maybe there's a picture of it or video. Yep. Maybe he'll see our video, because I think I got it. He's on his dad's shoulders. That's Josh Allen doing that. He does embrace it. There are phony people in the world. I don't think Josh is that way at all. I think this is who he is.
Yeah, it is awesome. It is fun to see. Tomorrow, like we said, they will thud up, as Sean McDermott says. We will hear from him. We also expecting to hear from Ed Oliver, some maybe more defensive line guys, as they actually start to put the pads on for one of the few times that they can really do it at training camp to pick it up.
Yeah. In the Micah Hyde thing, worth keeping an eye on. But at the moment, again, it doesn't appear to be something serious, but we'll wait to get an official word.
Plenty more coverage, as always, up online 24/7 at the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe, podcast, the whole 9 yards, daily recaps. Jenna's got the weekend off, veteran weekend rest week. Mike Catalana, Dan Fetes, thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.